Waterlogged is a horror podcast and contains material not suitable for all audiences. Full content warnings can be found in the show notes. Listener discretion is advised.
Doc, can you hear me? I think the connection's coming through. Well, I pay for the max data package, so it should be clear.
Yes, I can hear you. Do you consent to this recording?
Do I consent to you recording this? Obviously, Doc, we've been over this. Yeah, I consent to you recording this session for note-taking purposes. I haven't tried anything new since our last session.
Nothing new at all. You haven't gone anywhere.
Wait, nothing therapeutic. Well, I decided to try this brand new frozen yogurt shop down the street from my flat. No, apartment. Sorry. You'd think living in the States for the past decade I'd remember. It was pretty good, but nothing to write home about. I don't think that really counts to my therapy. But you're the shrink, not me. I haven't made much progress towards treatment goals since my last session.
No progress.
Fine. Yeah, you're right. I'm able to hear running water in my apartment without having a panic attack. And I guess I'm able to go swimming in the pool at the local YMCA. That said, I'm not that comfortable sitting near any larger bodies of water yet. And that does upset me quite a bit.
I don't think we're going to go any further unless you're willing to talk to me about it.
No, I don't think. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I am ready to talk about it. Well, I should start at the beginning. That sounds like it would be a smart idea. June 21st last year, I went tubing with a few friends, me, Jason, Blake and a few others, who got together for my birthday. I mean, it's your birthday, right? Get a few friends together, grab some beer and relax near a shore. Well, you're supposed to cut a little bit loose. I loved being in the water. Surfing, fishing or swimming. I always felt that I was meant to be in the water. Did swimming lessons for the longest time. Going to swim meets, water polo. I just loved being in water. Where was I? Right, Jason. Jason, my best friend from university, told me he knew the perfect spot for my birthday get-together. Right next to a small stream. It had a pretty decent tree line and, most importantly, almost no oversight from the local wardens. Jason had been scoping this area out for fishing and saw the game warden for the area did their survey of the stream earlier that month. He thought the warden would be patrolling other lakes, the closest of which was a few miles away. I invited all the friends I had. All the more important since the following month I'd be starting my new job working a few states over. This was supposed to be a last hurrah, as it were. And, as an added incentive for my pals, I was going to foot the bill by buying everything. All of the preferred drinks were in the coldest coolers. I talked with a butcher and bought plenty of the choicest cuts of meat. No one was going to leave this party sad or upset. Kinda ironic in hindsight, sadly. Anyways, the day of the event, I packed up the wagon, filled the petrol tank, picked up Jason, and headed off. By 10 a.m, we had the wagon unpacked and we were ready for guests to show up. By 10:30, we had a few people stretched out by our fire pit. And by noon, we had some music playing and drinks were being served. But that stream was calling me. Well, I decided to ask a few of the people to see who'd be up for a nice float on the water. We had a little inner tube raft party, practically a floating frat house. So there I am, relaxing in an inner tube with a seltzer in hand, floating lazily along. Now, the current was not too bad. Slow enough to bob down and have a buddy pick us up nearby, about a mile or so downstream, about half an hour later. It was serene. I toasted the cows in the field nearby, and after that everyone was mooing. That's what I thought I would remember for a long time. 5 grown-ass adults mooing at cows like the animals would know what we were saying. I didn't hear the rushing water until I was nearly on top of it. Pretty hard to steer an inner tube. Too late to get out, and clearly too late to save myself. Apparently, Jason had only ever stayed upstream of our party site and thought it looked nice because of the slow, lazy flow. Had he gone a bit further downstream, he would have seen it was a low-head dam. I hadn't heard of them until I read about it afterwards. But this was something different. Across the pond, I would call it a weir. I was caught in something called a drowning machine, Doc. How fucked up is that? This dam was designed so that right after the dam itself, water was circulated nearly continuously. Yeah, well, clearly I drowned. The rushing water of the dam trapped my body in a loop underwater until I held enough of the stuff to shuffle off this mortal coil. I was only lucky that nearby landowners called the warden to check the area because of our party. He immediately called for someone to help after getting to the dam. Apparently, there was too high a risk of another person drowning to save me until I was near shore. I was given CPR as soon as it was safe to pull my body out. 5 minutes. 5 minutes was what the medics on site estimated I was dead for. 5 minutes being without a pulse and with all of that water in my lungs. I was dead. And I'm pretty sure I went to hell. Well, that's the only way I can describe it. I know I'm not a good person. I should volunteer more and donate more things, but to go there? I wasn't evil. I'm just your average asshole, but to go there? It was just wrong. What do you think hell is? Fire and brimstone? Demons and monsters chomping at your arms and legs? It's not. And I know that now. I found a few communities online of people who experienced something like what had happened to me. I wanted to see what others had to say about passing on and coming back. What did I do? I talked with them, Doc. We each had something similar happen to us, but wholly unique. John, a guy who loved hunting, said his experience was him running from something chasing him. Something that was just a step behind him, running for his damn life. A singer named Vera said her experience was singing until her vocal cords were raw. Raw! How much singing does that take? Do you want to take a guess at my personal hell? Water. I was drowning in an endless darkness. The wet, crushing cold of hundreds of feet of water constricting me in. My insides feeling like they were freezing solid. Hell, Doctor, isn't being tortured by demons or being harmed by what you hate. At least then you have a way to understand it, a framework to direct your hatred and misery from the get-go. Hell is taking what you like and making it awful. To the point that you despise what you used to love. To making sure that you can't stand being around it. And I can't. Sorry. After the experience, I can't stand being near water anymore. Not a pool, not a puddle, not the goddamn kitchen sink. When I was drowning, I couldn't see anything. Not a speck of light. But I felt something watching me. I heard that something call to me in that crushing, oppressive void. It roared in my head that if I was willing to have someone else take my place, it would postpone my death. Postpone being in that cold, black purgatory. I could only think of a single name. Jason. He was the reason I was there. It was only fair he took my place. I couldn't say anything. Apparently it's hard to speak when there's water in your lungs and being crushed in by the weight of thousands of pounds of water on all sides. But the thing in that darkness heard me. It heard the name I said in my head, and it responded in a bone-shaking bellow. Okay, let's reel it in. I learned after waking up in the hospital that Jason drowned too. Apparently, he was under the water longer than me and wasn't able to be resuscitated. But since that day, I've been trying to work on that whole not going to hell thing. Church 3 times a week and volunteering where I can. I swear, Doc, there are times when I go to bed and right at that liminal point between being awake and falling asleep, I get that familiar feeling of being watched. Oh, I forgot to mention. I was offered the position to teach a swimming program at the local pool. Well, apparently they were in need of a swimming instructor for the elderly. I accepted.
Damn was written by Loggerhead and performed by Karim Kronfli. It was edited and sound designed by Daisy McNamara. It was produced by Ash Sequente and Daisy McNamara. Our theme song was by Lou Sutcliffe, and this episode featured Symmetry by Kevin McLeod. Follow us on social media at WaterloggedPod. Links are in the show notes. Waterlogged is a production of Eelsong Studios and Law of Names Media.